What's up, YouTube? This is LA Prepper coming to you alive but not live from Los Angeles County. Oh man, so much stuff going on in the world. It's crazy. This mask business is not letting up. In fact, we're coming up, we're a few months away from this, the flu season. We've been in Corona season all year, which has just been super fun, as I'm sure y'all can attest to. Of course, we have the presidential elections coming up. I think my conservative views have been shared before, so I think I'll just leave that one alone. But suffice it to say, I do feel strongly about it because even though I know that not everything that the politicians do is in my favor, for the majority of politicians, irrespective of political party, generally I am more a supporter of freedom and law than not. Some parties support certain groups of criminals based on feelings and sensitivities and political correctness and all sorts of things. I tend to be a little more even-keeled when it comes to that. Now, I'm not, the type of person that wants to keep people locked up in prison their whole life if it can be avoided. But that being said, letting some people go just because you feel like it, I don't think it's a great idea. Letting people out of jail because they might get sick from corona, I don't think that's a great idea. So I'll just leave that on that. Yeah, politicians aren't the most important thing in the world. I think they do. I mean, the president certainly has an amount of power, especially with the executive order business. Used to be a lot more things went through Congress, but as of the last few decades, we've seen a lot more presidential action from executive orders, things like drone strikes. Now, drone strikes kind of, it's kind of like a gray area because the president is the commander in chief. So he can order the military around, but theoretically you're supposed to get a declaration of war before you do war type stuff. Now, if you're striking a country with a drone, in my opinion, that seems like a wartime action. Of course, Obama struck many, many people with drones through the years. So before people start blaming our current POTUS for all this executive order drone strike business, he's not the one that sent the president for sure. I don't know what kind of action Bill Clinton took with executive orders. I mean, it'd be an interesting thing to look at, but when it comes to other things like freedom of speech, international trade, gun laws, the directions that the politicians, or the stances that the politicians seem to take, do tend to have an effect. For example, California is a very anti-gun state, and we see a lot of anti-gun politicians get elected. We see a lot of anti-gun judges, a lot of anti-gun decisions, although recently, the Ninth Circuit, I don't know if it's the District Court or the Court of Appeals, or at any rate, California Ninth Circuit something court, ruled that the limit on magazine capacity was unconstitutional. So that is potentially huge, not just for the magazine capacity. I mean, look, it's kind of stupid. If you want to carry 10-pound mags, yes, it takes you a little bit of time to reload compared to 3 1/3 30-round mags. But the point is, if your intent to do harm, a few seconds on a reload is really not going to be a huge difference between how much harm you can do. What's going to make the difference, the only thing that stops the bad guy with a gun is a good guy who has Jackie Chan skills, a taser, pepper spray, was a high school wrestler, or has a gun. So it doesn't always have to be a gun, but there's not a lot of people brave enough to tackle somebody that has a gun when that person that's doing the tackling does not have a gun. So I don't believe that making tools like firearms and such illegal necessarily prevents crime. In fact, we see in New York and Chicago quite horrific amounts of crime and shootings where, the joke is like, maybe we need to make murder illegal. Maybe we need to ban shooting. Oh, wait, it's already illegal. So the idea that, making gun laws illegal somehow stops. If it stopped gun crime 100%, maybe I would be willing to give up some limited amount of firearm ownership. Maybe. But it doesn't. It's never remotely been shown to. Oh my God, what are you doing, car? So, enough about the politics stuff. I don't really enjoy talking about politics. I think, what the fuck are you doing? Goddamn teenagers driving. Or in this case, 50-year-old white guy. I wouldn't mind running for office personally. It wouldn't really be the most enjoyable job, but I wouldn't mind being a mayor of kind of a smaller town, so I could at least feel like I'm a little more connected, to decisions going on. But I don't expect that's going to happen anytime in the near future. Maybe if I get retired, when I retire someday, and I'm living in some podunk town, I can run for mayor when I'm 70 years old, and if they dig up the worst dirt possible, imaginable on me, it won't matter because I'm already 70 years old. My ranch is paid for, free and clear and all that. Enough about politics, though. Prepping. What is going on in the prepping world? I have not been doing a lot of prepping as of late. I'm trying to get my finances in order with getting this unit rented, getting the garage rented, which will give me considerable more financial strength. I had a very lame amount of oh my God, there's an accident. Everybody's got to fucking look at it. Jesus. I had a very lame amount of progress this weekend on the sewer. I connected one 5-foot section. I got over to the main sewer line, and checked the depth so that when I make my left turn and I go 12 feet from where the garage line is to the main line, I still have enough slope for 1/8 of an inch per foot. So I need to dig about 12 more feet of solid trench, and then the thing that I'm least looking forward to is cutting into the main line because it's 4-inch thick cast iron pipe. It's like 2 feet under grade. It's also really rough. I mean, the outside of the pipe is really bumpy, and it really concerns me about how well two of these hose clamps are really going to hold the sewage in there. I might get 2 additional 4-inch hose clamps so that each fitting can have a hose clamp about 1 inch apart, and that might improve it somewhat, but it's still not going to be perfect. So, I don't know. If it's just a little bit of drips now and then, maybe it'll just soak into the water table. That part of the house is high anyway, so maybe it'll balance out, but still need to buy a battery for my solar system. I've had some people say golf cart battery. Obviously, a deep cycle battery is typically the way to go. One interesting thing I read about lithium ion is that apparently lithium ion doesn't mind being discharged fully as much as lead acid batteries, even if it's a absorbed glass mat or AGM. Thing is, they cost like 4 times more. And I don't know for sure, but I think you need to be a little more careful about how they get charged. So anyways, that's just kind of a cost thing. I thought about doing something kind of interesting, which would be getting a deep cycle battery that fits in my car. Now, the reason, obviously, running a car off a deep cycle battery is not ideal, but I think it would function in an emergency situation. And the idea is that, God forbid, my main car battery takes a crap and, I wake up at 8 in the morning and there's fires or riots or an earthquake or who knows what, that would cause me to leave where I live. If my main battery is dead, I could put in the deep cycle battery and be good to go. Of course, you might just say, well, why don't you just buy an extra car battery and keep it charged up? Or why don't you buy one of those quick start battery start things? Quick start battery things are okay. You know, I have AAA, so until the world ends, I'm not too worried about a dead battery. Although I will tell you, I was at the park about, not a year ago, but a number of months ago, and I had a dead battery, and it's one of those things where it's like, people kind of have to go out of their way to help you, and some people aren't super familiar with how to jumpstart a car, and they think it's going to hurt their battery, and all this stuff. So this guy pulled up next to me. I'm pretty sure English wasn't his first language because he had some kind of accent. Not that that really matters, but maybe he didn't understand me. But I had the jumper cables, because I figured those kind of speak for themselves. And I was like, hey, I need a jump start. And he was kind of just like, oh, no. Like, dude, I'm not asking you for money. I'm not asking for your kids. I just need a jump start. And then he kind of got in his car and he kind of sat there for a second, and I was like, oh, well, that sucks, like, what are you going to do? I guess I got to wait for the next person. Because you got to get, someone with the cars running. You don't want to just go up into the park and be like, hey, can you stop what you're doing, go back to your car? So you kind of want to get somebody that, like, just pulled in or is just leaving so that it's not super inconvenient for them. What the fuck are you doing? Learn how to drive. So then he came back out of his car and he kind of jump started. So the point is, even though asking someone for a jump start isn't the biggest deal in the world, as things get crazier and crazier with corona and riots and even, like racism and stuff, it's better just to not have to ask. Yeah, it shouldn't be that big of a deal, but push comes to shove, you're trying to get your family the hell out of Dodge, you should have some sort of way to jumpstart your car more quickly. Just my opinion. The heat, of course, has been affecting us. In Los Angeles, we're mostly insulated from too much of the nastiness. I think it was it's been 95 degrees. I need to put either an exhaust fan in the attic and vent the attic space, or a fan. I kind of like the idea of a whole house fan better, because if I just suck air out of the attic, or if I force air out of the attic, it's going to come in from the other vent in the attic as well as from the house. But if I force air into the attic from the house, then 100% of my airflow is sucking nice air from outside to not only really cool the attic, which is sort of the secondary feature, but cool the house. Of course, cooling the attic helps because when the attic is 100 degrees, it doesn't matter if it's 80 outside, your place is still going to be 90. And trust me, I have personally experienced that recently, and it sucks. It's no fun when you're trying to go to bed Luckily, I work the night shift, which is actually really convenient for this crappy weather. It's kind of convenient for a lot of things. I don't think I would get any sleep if I got up at 5 o'clock and, worked till 2:30, came home, dicked around the house for a couple hours, and then it's like 6 or 7. My neighbors are up, the dogs are barking, people are banging down the street with music and their exhausts, and it's just, I'd probably be miserable. But, I gotta work on the heat, gotta work on my solar power. I need to work on planting some stuff. I sort of have some half-assed compost pile next to my house. But I just filled up my other bin on this tree in front of my house. It grows like crazy. I swear I trimmed the whole thing about as far up as I could reach, maybe a couple weeks ago. And between what I didn't put in my bin last week and what I cut off from the tree, and I don't know, like a couple pieces of cardboard, I practically filled one of the garbage bins 2/3 full with junk, plant waste to make my wonderful compost. So the thing is, if you fill the garbage bin all the way full, you can tip it over, but then you can't. I was sort of hoping to be able to tip them over and turn them upside down. So Anyways, I can't let it get too heavy, but I don't even have anywhere to put all this dirt, even if I tried, unless I start growing a tree in the garbage can, but that's a little bit ridiculous. Um, so I need to buy some totes or some 5 gallon buckets or whatever the flavor of the day is. I'm not really sure what I like more. Um, but yeah, I'm actually pulling into work now, so I'm gonna sign off. But just wanted to give a little update of what's going on, which I suppose in conclusion is not very much, but I am working on it. So until next time, YouTube, stay safe, stay ready, and keep prepping.